Okay, everyone. Today we're going to start our notes by talking about a brief introduction to motivation. At this point, I actually do want to ask you to consider what motivates you. When you think about motivation, are you motivated intrinsically? Are there things within yourself that motivate you? Are you motivated extrinsically? Are you obtaining some type of thing, some type of reward for your behavior? When we talk about motivation, motivation is personal and situational. But we are going to get into the different theories of what motivates people in this PowerPoint. Like all the PowerPoints we've been doing, if you need to pause this, please feel free to take notes. And I'm going to go a little bit faster than we typically would in class. So today we're going to explain the theories on motivation, and then you guys will be working through some motivation scenarios within your packet. Your notes are starting right now. When we talk about motivation, we're talking about feelings or ideas that cause us to act towards a goal. It helps us explain why people do what they do. If you literally think about anything we are doing, we are motivated by something. When I think about the fact that I'm sitting in front of my computer talking to myself, basically to give you guys these notes, why am I doing that? What's my motivation? Well, my motivation is a lot. I want you guys to be caught up when I come back. I want you to stay on track. I want you to do well on your AP exam. I want to not feel guilty and like I've abandoned you. So those are all of my motivations for doing these screencasts. When we think about why are you watching it or why are you completing the work that I've left for you, it could be because you just want to get a good grade. You don't want to get a 0 on a packet. It comes down to those rewards and consequences. Maybe you're internally motivated because you want to study psych when you go to college next year, right? So motivation as a whole, any feelings that are or ideas that cause us to act towards a goal. There are lots of different theories on motivation. Could it be our instincts, nature, nurture? Is it how we were raised? Is it something innate within us biologically? Does motivation come down to something like natural selection? Are our human behaviors instinctual? What we can come up with for motivation is that behavior is motivated by both biological and psychological factors. So, why are we doing something like making sure we're getting enough sleep? Well, that's a biological thing. We need it. So don't forget that behavior is a combination of biological and psychological things. All right, we're going to go into a few theories of emotion, 3 to be precise. And the first one we're talking about is drive reduction. Drive reduction says that behavior, any of our behavior, is motivated by a biological need, a drive, right? It's an impulse in a way to that we act in a way to satisfy a need. So we're looking for things like food, water, shelter. It's to satisfy this drive. And ultimately, our bodies seek balance, also known as homeostasis. So we want to make sure we maintain that balance. So if, for example, you haven't been eating, your body could be all out of whack and it can tell you, okay, I need to take the action of going and eating right now so that I can kind of move my body back in a balanced direction. We're going to talk about primary and secondary drives. So primary drives are biological needs, like to satisfy thirst. And secondary drives are things that are learned drives, like we want money because we realize it allows us to buy necessities. However, the problem with this theory is it really can't explain all of our motivations. Like, why would anyone want to go skydiving? So I know lots of people who love skydiving. They've done it multiple times, but why would you be motivated? It kind of conflicts completely with our biological needs, this idea of jumping out of a plane, right? So drive reduction really gets to the heart of like our biological needs. It says we have biological needs like the need to eat or drink in order to survive and meet that homeostasis. Secondary drives are all tied back to be something that allows us to maintain those primary drives. But I don't really know if this encapsulates all of the things we're motivated by. So the next theory we'll talk about is arousal theory. Arousal theory says we seek excitement or arousal. We're motivated by activities that excite us. Well, I don't really know if this explains all of the reasons why we're motivated either. However, it is a theory that's been put out by psychologists. The arousal theory is connected to something that we call the opponent processing theory. The opponent processing theory does actually tie in with addictive behaviors. So, in the opponent processing theory, it says we operate at a baseline. These are normal things that we do on a daily basis. Like, we are level at this point. Something might encourage us to move and shift from the baseline, one way or the other. Like, it might be totally out of our characteristic to smoke a cigarette, but someone chooses to do so. Opponent processing theory says that we have an opponent process, so something that is opposite, and it will encourage us to return to the baseline. So even if we do something that might be crazy, quote unquote, or out of the ordinary, there will be something else that kind of brings us back to that normal level baseline that we are used to maintaining. All right, and the last theory we're going to talk about with motivation, and I think this probably is most applicable to some of you, especially when you think about school, is incentive theory. So incentive theory says that we associate things with punishments and rewards. Kind of goes back to all of those things we've been talking about with learning and behaviorism, where you do something because you want to obtain a reward or avoid a punishment. Incentives overall are just stimuli we're drawn to due to learning. So this can be something like a kindergarten teacher putting stickers on a chart and trying to get kids to perform a task that they weren't doing or be good friends or something like that. Incentives can be grades for you all that you actually are doing well, or it can be something like the pride of earning a good grade. I don't know how many of you have ever gotten some type of reward for a good report card, but it could also tie in with that. So any three of these theories could potentially explain the reasons why we are motivated to do something that we are. So that's the end of your notes, and if you have any questions, please reach out.